But if you listen to me, and the people who I pastor will tell you, it's actually much harder being a man in a relationship or marriage with me. I hold men to a higher standard than women. And I have been attacked for doing that, but that's just me. Well, I hope you like it when I come down the other side. And my rule is, or my perspective on my principle on that is, if I go to a restaurant and there's something wrong with the food, who do I actually speak to? The manager. So, if we claim to be the head of a home, hello, and there's a problem with that home, I want to speak to the manager. Now, ladies, for that to apply, you must first agree that he's the head of the home. Because if not, then all bets are off. So the way the Bible defines, and this is a different topic, is love and submission are actually the same word, or same concept, so if you understand it. If I love someone, I will let their well-being regulate my decision-making. If I'm submitted to someone, I will trust them to regulate my decision-making. In essence, God is saying, both of you regulate the other person's decision-making. And he's using each one's intrinsic desires. What part of the curse of the fall of man was, your desire shall be to your husband. Look, so God knows that a woman is naturally wired, and especially by that fall, to be emotionally connected to her husband in a way he might not be to her. So he commands the one with the power in that circumstance to love the other. He's saying she'll love you by default. Her desire will be to you half the time. So you must compensate for that. On the flip side, he understands, like Samson, that a woman you love can get you to commit suicide. Right? She can manipulate you, right? Emotionally. Talk to me. Are you listening to me? Okay, I just, let me move on. Bishop Bob touched on this a bit. I don't want to go there. Go listen to his sermon. And so he says to that person who has the capacity, both emotionally and sexually, to manipulate the other person, forgo your ability to do that by submitting. But he starts off by saying in that same chapter, a few verses above, submit one to another. In essence, the foundation is mutual submission. We're going to let each other regulate ourselves. Having allowed each other regulate ourselves, this is now how we will do it. I am going to love you even when I don't want to. Because that for me is the lesser of the less natural emotion. You will submit to me when you don't want to, because it's the lesser of the emotions. But this is where I start from. I want the head of the home, the manager, I hold him most responsible. In essence, man, don't complain about your wife not submitting if you don't love her. That's how I usually start. I want to see a demonstration of Christ-like love. The Bible says the relationship between Christ and the church. He loved her and gave himself for her while she was still unfaithful to him. So I want to first see a man demonstrate a sacrificial love even for an erring person. And then I say, okay, lady, this man loving you, what's wrong with you? And I want to see that pre-marriage. Otherwise, I won't sign off, because I don't want to be called to your home at 2 a.m. in the morning. I hope I've answered that question and where I stand, and the fact that it's wrong because of culture and just basically human nature. Half of the problems with life can just be trained to human nature and the demon. Let me add this: the demonic influence, because the word principality comes from the word principle, and I've taught this before, that certain cultural and geographical systems have intrinsic demonic ideologies because they're being controlled by a sentient being from the spirit realm. So a lot of this culture and religion that has been used to justify abuse and misogyny is human fallen nature infused by demonic influence. Does that make sense? Okay.